differs from your previous comic book experience?
That's the same question I had, actually. I mean, it was a little tough for me to come back to where I was, when I began my career, 13 years ago, and I said I politely would like to do something else, since I felt like I kind of trotted down this road, and Jeff Johns called me and told me how this was different. It was more human. It was more an exploration of this relationship between Hawk and Dove, and this backstory of conflict between he and the rest of the Titans, and then it was going to be portrayed in a more real, gritty, raw, human way, and it wouldn't have that same kind of glow that where everything's kind of romanticized on a lot of the other shows that they've done, and then he kind of pitched me on who Hank Hall is, and he's alcoholic, pill popping vigilante, and I was like, all right, well, I guess let's give it a shot, see how it goes. So I'm pleased that everything that was promised has come to fruition, and I think the audience is going to get something that they've never had before because of it. So I'm excited about it. And that answers all the questions. So.
What are you most excited for the fans to see coming up?
I think I'm just excited that the fans are kind of finally getting like a really raw human look at superheroes. I think for me, the reason I don't go see Infinity War movies or whatever these are is because there's no stakes in it. Like, what's this? Everybody feels invincible all the time, and I play a superhero without any superpowers. How great is that? I still remember the first episode I shot, this episode 102. Brad Anderson, the director, and I were standing on set, and it was the first time that we were shooting a scene where I was in like the suit, and like kicking ass. And I walked in and kind of looked there was a big catwalk, like at the top of that thing up there. It was high. And he's like, so you're up there, you're kind of crushing some beers, and then, you tell Dove, like, let's go do it, and you jump down and you get in the fight. And I was like, okay. We never had this conversation before, so do I fly? Because that's I'd probably, what are my superpowers, am I super strong? I can handle a jump that size? He's like, good question, man. Yeah, let's go with no superpowers. I'm like, okay, all right, that informs a lot. So from then on, I played the guy like he had no superpowers, and like you get hurt in these fights. I think that's really cool. Who else has explored that, And so to me, it's about the humanity. I mean, this guy has a lot of pain. He masks it with, pharmaceuticals and codependency, and I and many others, I think, can relate to those kind of human struggles, and that's what I'm interested in exploring. And if you do it in a fun, entertaining way through, Hawk and Dove and the Titans, all the better. That's what I'm excited for people to have fun typing that up.
When we meet in season 2, we're really kind of at the end of their journey. Like they're done with this. They want to get out of it. Are we going to see more of like what got them into it? Like
absolutely. You'll get the origin story for how they meet in season 1, and I will say I've been in the business for a long time. I've shot some stuff I'm proud of. I've shot some stuff that didn't turn out the way that I had hoped. And I will say my proudest work so far today is episode 10 of this season, which is the origin story of Hawk and Dove. It's such an unexpected departure from the show. It feels like it's like a mini movie from just any canon. I mean, it's just a very special break from, I think, what the show had been doing up to that point, and gives you a great understanding of where at least these two are coming from. And it was just beautifully written. The subject matter it's a much riskier take, I think, for a studio to talk about the things that we talk about in that show. And again, it addresses things that are real, that are dark, and that people experience and spend their life trying to move past. And I'm really proud of it. And Akiva and Jeff wrote it, and really bled on the page for that. And I hope people appreciate what they did.
You mentioned Jeff talked to you about to convince you to enjoy it. Was there anything else that kind of
Yeah, I mean, I think coming into it, you can say. I mean, it feels like it's become a little cliche these days to be like, oh, it's darker and gritty. Like, people started that with like Harry Potter too. They're like, it's darker this year, so like you gotta come. Like, okay, it's like what you say, I guess, to sell people on something being cool. I don't give a shit. That word means nothing to me. Like, what does that mean? Darker? What does that mean?
It means there's no light in the movie.
What does that mean? Yeah, what does that mean? Like,
Movies are pitch black.
that's ridiculous. Like, doesn't say anything about the content of the movie. That's a great question. I mean, what is darker? I hate that word. Are we exploring the human condition in a way that, like, you know, scrapes the scab off stuff that other people are afraid to talk about? And yes, it does. And it does it in a really brutal way, which I think you start to see in like 1 and 2, you know. It's like no holds barred look at these guys' lives, and it's a look behind the mask. And so walking into the sets the first time and watching, you know, like Breton work as Robin, I mean, he put a lot of time and effort into what he does. So, in fact, like I walked into a stunt rehearsal for the first time, and I saw somebody working the bow, you know, working the staff, and it was just around the back. It's like, holy shit, his stuntman is amazing. And then Brenton finishes up, and he's like, okay, cool, your turn. I was like, that was you. I mean, everybody's gone the distance for this to explore these characters, and I love that it's also a peek behind the mask. You know, it's not, you know, you don't often get to explore a relationship the way that we do in this, and like you spend time in Hank and John's apartment, and they're not doing anything super, and that's special. And so getting to explore that, see that happen, see that among other characters, that's been like a pleasant surprise, and where I think they really held true to their promise. Yeah, man, I asked for some comics because I didn't know a lot about Hawk, and so Jeff John's like, yeah, cool, yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll send you we'll send you some stuff. And so the package arrives, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna get to work. I'm gonna tell my wife, like, I'm gonna be a few hours, like, I gotta read. And it was one comic, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess there's not a lot on this guy. Okay, and I read it. Cool, I got it. Okay, I think I get who this guy is. You know, he's brash, and you know, you don't have to guess what he's thinking, and you know, loves justice, all that. You know, I mean, I get it. And I show up, and I'm getting to know Minka a little bit, and I was like, so what'd you do to get to know your character? She's like, oh yeah, well they sent me all the comics, and I was like, cool, you got that one too? She's like, no, they sent what? They sent like 80, and I was like, you got like 80 comics? I got one. They don't give a shit about Hank Hall, I guess. I don't know. But I read one comic, so now I feel like I'm underprepared, but you know, I did my best.
Last question.
Why do you think that we want to explore these kind of darker storylines with superheroes? You know, like we could just do like regular dramas. What is it about the superhero genre that I think makes it compelling to like see these characters being more broken?
I think it gives us hope. I think we all need hope. We all feel as broken. We all are. We have a hard time talking about it, so getting a chance to escape to a world where we recognize ourselves on screen and also see the potential, you know, to do something great gives us hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
you.
Yeah.